The other day I added a segment to the Frank Samuels Maintenance Man story. You can see at the bottom it's called The Taking of the Alfred Benson. I'm going to go into that. It's a rather short piece. It's not very long. But it gets you through the phase of the Alfred Benson, the space vessel was attacked. So it is like maybe 6 paragraphs, very short ones, and only 280 words. I can check that. Right over here, bringing up the information thing. Here's the seed information up here. Here's the information on my segment that I've written here, The Taking of the Alfred Benson. It's only 268 words. Right now it's in scoring. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to active, but I'm not going to do that until after I add and go back in and do a few more edits on this segment. Really, pretty much just putting in characters, entities, and annotations. But I don't have any characters, and there's only one entity that I'm going to add, even though it's probably not an entity that you really need to add. But I'm going to add it just because I want to show you how this works. It's a little different than seeds. Not a whole lot different, but it's a little different than seeds. The activation's the same. Anyway, let's go. Let's go to the segment, your stuff. Segments, your segments. You see there's one segment here. You can see that it's available here by clicking on this to go back into it. But I'm just going to go to edit. And, you know, when you're doing seeds, your actual character, entity, and annotation work is done here, not in the case with segments. This thing here allows you to get to all of the characters, all of the entities, and all of the annotations for all of the segments and seed, all the way back to the beginning. Just consider that this might be a segment that's written, you know, after a few months, and it might be 17 levels down from the seed. Well, all of the characters, entities, and annotations that were created by all of the authors all the way from 17 up to the seed, they all have to be visible somehow. Well, this is how you see them right through here. You'll see, but this one there's only there's only the 3 characters that we created before, and there's no characters for this. But we're not going to add any either, because we don't really have any characters in this particular piece. So you can see there's really only one entity, the Crags. Don't even really have to do that. I'm not sure that that will ever be revisited, but we might as well go ahead and put it in as an entity. Well, you can't do it here. Got to do it here under step 4. It says characters, entities, and annotations. We're going to go there. You're going to see a bunch of stuff here. We're not going to add characters. We're not killing off anybody, so we don't have to go into character detail. If you go into character detail here, you can actually go into the characters that already exist, plus any that you create here, in order for you to be able to go in and change their status. They may actually be, you may actually kill them. You may actually have them mortally wounded, or, you know, or just injured in a certain way. Well, this is how you would notify the membership that this particular character may have some disabilities that they may have to take into consideration when they're writing their follow-on segments. We're going to add an entity. So we're going to click on Entities here. It's going to bring up a sheet where it shows that you have no entities for the taking of the Alfred Benson. So we're going to add one, and it's called, I put it in my clipboard, I hope, the Crags. Sort order 1. Just under profile, we'll type something in. I haven't written anything yet, so I'm just going to do it. This is an area on the planet Banshee, where space vessels can drop down to the surface to hide due to the area's rugged nature. How's that? 124 characters. That works good. I'm not going to do a history. say the landscape. It's just landscape, so the landscape hasn't changed for thousands of years. Probably millions of years. How about we just change that to millions of years? Okay, millions of years. Alright, so we're just going to leave it at that. I'm going to, let me see, what do I do? Damaged? Destroyed, damaged. It's actually not. It's in good condition considering the state of the planet. It's not one that's inhabitable, but we're just going to go ahead and leave it at that. Alright, so we have this one entity. Now, I just want to demonstrate something here. Now that we have an entity in here for this, we're going to go to entities here on Twig stuff, bring it up, and you can see that we have the crags. The crags. Alright, so if we go here, you can see that we actually have the 4 entities that we created for the main, the seed, and then we've got the 1 entity that we've created for this segment. Okay? Now, that's all I'm going to do here, and I'm going to kind of show you this character detail here. This is the detail editor. If I wanted to go in and find a character, if I were going to kill somebody, for instance, if I go in here and say Captain William Smithson, he's going to die pretty soon. I'm not going to kill him, though. Not in this segment. But if I clicked on him, you can see I can go in here and find out what his health is at the moment. And I can go in here and say add character detail, and I can change him and kill him right now if I wanted to. And then, you know, future writers would know that are following this particular segment are going to actually have him as a dead person. However, you may be off in a segment that comes off of the seed where he doesn't die. And, you know, that's why this is fairly complicated, because, you know, an entity that is 28 levels down, you know, on one particular line of thought, a line of storytelling, this person might be dead. Over here in this other thing, he may be perfectly alive all the way through it. So you just don't know where these stories are going to go. So keeping track of characters and the status of these characters is kind of difficult. One last thing before we go. I'm going to do some annotations. We've done this before. Remember, this is done through here now. Instead of going through these things like you do with a seed, with the segments you go through here. We're going to go to annotations. You see that the one that we create automatically, segment level 1, the taking of the Alfred Benson, that's the title one. It's set as level as sort order 1, and it shouldn't be changed. Just leave it there like that. We're going to add a couple. Let me see. I'm going to remind myself of what we've actually done here. Drop down is okay. Okay, the Alfred Benson dropped down to the surface of the planet edge to to hide, I'm sorry, to hide and surveil. That's good enough. And that's sort order 2. Okay, I forgot to do that. I forgot to put in italics. The Alfred Benson is attacked by an unknown vessel. While entering I'm going to call it the crags. Okay? That ought to be good enough. So we saved those 2 extra ones. Now I'm going to go back and edit these. italics around the name of the ship, the vessel. Do the same thing for this one here. Oops, that's I. It would never work if I put an S on that one. This one's the S. Okay. Now I think these things are supposed to be in an opposite order, where they're supposed to start at the top. 1 should be at the top, 3 should be at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and fix that, but you know, this is a new website, so there's going to be a few little problems. And I'll fix that. Before I do that, I have my 3 annotations in here. That's good enough. And we're going to go ahead and activate this segment by clicking on Active here, and then save this segment. We're saving it as an active segment. So when we go into TWIG, like we did before, go into Frank Miller. Now this is the place where people come in to read, right? So they can read the story, then they see this one, and it's active now. So they can go in here, and you're supposedly be able to write based on this, but apparently that doesn't work right either. So I'm going to have to fix that. I want you to look at this last thing up here. This is the seed segment navigator stuff. You'll see there's only one item in there, the original seed. But this will grow to show you the previous segment. If there is a previous segment, there is no previous segment. This segment here goes straight back to the seed. And then this particular item here, this little compass, will actually open up a segment navigator. Now, if you're 30 or 40 segments deep inside of a story, this list can get quite long, and you know, it allows you to be able to get back to any segment that you've been on. So that's what that's for.